The early mannequin is said to have been made of pose using a real human corpse and then placed it in a plaster mold. Human flesh and blood contain the most ideal proportion of nutrients that humans need. In general, these foods taste very delicious. Animals have evolved to feel the most terrible smell of dead bodies, instead of the same taste, in order to prevent extinction through eating each other. So if you can't feel the smell, you will feel that human flesh is delicious. Meanwhile, the human sense of smell has been rapidly weakening over the past few hundred years due to deterioration caused by environmental pollution, disease, and a change in the way of survival competition. The human brain emits endorphins, one of the drug ingredients, in order to maintain control of the body when the pain reaches its limit, and to make people forget the pain and feel pleasure. It's a pretty famous story that a hanged person is smiling at the last minute. Meanwhile, research from the University of Maryland found that many people who fainted from extreme pain often take their own lives after being rescued. There's a small cave on the Scandinavian peninsula in Europe, and the cave runs endlessly. A guy went into the cave to find the end of the cave, but he went missing. And 4 years later, the man is said to have been contacted in Mexico. There was a strange statue called a crying Siddhagarbha Bodhisattva. Siddhagarbha Bodhisattva is a Buddha who protects hell in Buddhist terms. He usually looks peaceful, but sometimes he looks like a crying or troubled face in the evening. When it was crying, it rained the next day, and when it was in trouble, it snowed. On a day when nothing came down, the face of the statue was the same, so it was used to set up a schedule for the next day by watching it. One day, the statue had a bright smile that had never been seen before. It was August 4th, 1945, the day before the incident about the atomic bombing of Hiroshima. In 1998, a blueprint believed to be about 400 years old was discovered from a warehouse in a private residence in the UK. The blueprint, titled Automatic Calendar, had the dimensions of the bizarrely shaped part and the assembly strategies. When an engineer carried out the restoration of the device on the basis of its design, a machine displaying AD and a date was completed. But there was an odd flaw in this device. By the time had passed the year 2050, the tooth wheels did not engage with each other, and the device suddenly stopped displaying the date. There was a famous man in a restaurant called Milan in New York, who always suddenly appeared and told strange stories to customers that they had never heard of. When he was out of sight, the customers began to talk about that man. However, no one could remember his face and even the stories that they'd been hearing from him.